Hi there, everybody. This is Phil Simborg. I am the official teaching pro of the US Backgammon Federation, and I am here today to uh, walk you through a guide for people who have never played in a tournament or maybe have played in one or two tournaments and didn't enjoy it, to tell you how to enjoy the experience, what to expect, and to encourage you to go. If you play backgammon, as I did for many, many years before you ever went to a local club or to a tournament, you're really missing out on the real fun of the game, the friendship, the competition, and watching really great players and sharing time with them. It's really a wonderful experience. There's nothing like it. I became addicted to it about 50 years ago, and I've been playing ever since. I've been a backgammon teacher for about the last 25 years, and I'm very proud to represent the U.S. Backgammon Federation. The first thing I want to tell you all is it's fun. And the reason to go to a backgammon tournament is mainly to have fun. You will learn more about the game, you will have good competition, but remember, especially your first time, pardon me, or your first couple of times, it's all about fun. Nobody cares if you make some mistakes, if you get some things wrong, people will help you. So don't be afraid. Number two, when you go to a backgammon tournament, the first thing you should do is let the director know you're a newcomer. The directors really want to encourage more people to come, whether it's to a local club or to a major tournament. They'll often assign a big brother or big sister to help you out, or they even have some free clinics before you play to get you acclimated on the rules and on the procedures and the policies so you feel more comfortable. But you'll always be welcomed. And so make sure the tournament director knows all about you. So let's talk about what tournament play is. Tournaments are matches. You play a match to 5 points, 7 points, whatever the tournament director specifies for that group, but usually to an odd number of points. So the first one who wins the match wins that round. Now, in tournaments, especially in the novice division and the newcomer division, you're not knocked out immediately. You'll be guaranteed to play for a very low fee compared to the higher level and championship players. And you'll probably get to play 2, 3, 4 matches, even if you never win a match. So it's all about having fun. Now, what is a match? Let's say we're playing a match where the first one who gets to 5 points wins. Well, if you're playing, let me share my screen here with you, and we'll open up a backgammon board. I'm going to open up a copy of the backgammon board at Extreme Gammon, which is the #1 software in the world. And I have to tell you, full disclosure, I do have a piece of Extreme Gammon. You should buy it. It's the best learning tool there is. It's better than any human player. www.extremegammon.com. But don't buy it until you join the USBGF first, the US Backgammon Federation. No matter where you live in the world, you'll get a discount on Extreme Gammon, a discount on many other things. Great information. And by the way, if you join the USBGF, I have over 250 short videos teaching you different aspects of the game. Many have guest commentators and teachers, some of the best teachers in the world, join me on these. It's a bargain, a great magazine. So www.usbgf.org is the place to go. Let's see, I even have a link to it open here. Let's see. Well, it's opening a little bit slowly because I got so many things going on, but you got the idea. Go to usbgf.org. Sure. Learn how to play, where you can play, get information, learning about the game, checking results, membership, news, finding out what's going on. You'll really be connected to the backgammon world through the U.S. Backgammon Federation. And if you live in Norway or Denmark or Turkey or whatever, join the federations there as well. Okay, we're talking about a match now. Let's say we're playing a match to 5, and you win a game. You win 1 point. If you win a gammon, which is a doubled game, you win 2 points. So what's a gammon? White's on roll here. Let's see, he rolls a 3-2, takes 2 checkers off. Blue doesn't even have a checker off, so he wins 2 times the cube. And a backgammon would be if he took his checkers off and you had a checker on the bar or in his inner board, and he takes his checkers off. This is a backgammon is worth triple. So if this was the case, white would win 3 points. If the cube has been turned, and we play with the doubling cube, and I'll explain that in more detail in just a minute. If the cube is on 2 and he gets his checkers off, he'll win 2 points if you have a checker off. But if you don't have any checkers off, he wins 4 points. It's a gammon. And again, if you had a checker in his inner board, you would lose 6 points. So it's times the cube. Okay, so the idea of a match is to get to 5 first. And by the way, if you win by 8 points or 10 points or 20 points, it doesn't matter. If you win 10-0 or 5-0, you're going to get you get a win. That's it. It doesn't matter how many you win by. Now there is one very different and interesting rule in match play. Let's pretend that you and I are playing a match to 5. I'm going to set it up as a match to 5. And let's pretend that I am winning. Let's say I'm white and I'm winning 4-0. And let's set up the board to where it's the opening move. And here we are. I'm winning 4-0. You cannot double me this game. It's called Crawford. So for one game, you cannot double me. By the way, if you win a gammon, you still get credit for a gammon. You can still win 2 points, or a backgammon win 3 points. But the doubling cube cannot be turned. Obviously, I wouldn't double either because I only need 1 point. Now, let's say you won that game. Let's say you win 1 point. The next game, it's what we call post-Crawford. And why wouldn't you double on the first roll? I need to win 1 point. You need to win 4 points. So put the cube on 2. It doesn't matter if you lose by more points. So every time it's past Crawford or post Crawford, you should double on every roll. Now, how does the doubling cube work? Very simply. When it's your turn, let's say you think you have a good edge. Let's say you were blue. Let's say the score is 0-0 here. And let me just set up a typical position that might actually occur in a real game. You're blue. And let's say that I'm white. And let's say that you're on roll here. Well, I like blue's position here. He's winning the race by 8 pips. That means he has 8 dots on the dice less. He's got white kind of trapped back here. I sure would like to be blue here. And I think I'd like to double the stake. So I would take the doubling cube, turn it to 2, put it on the board, and say I double. Now, my opponent, in this case it would be me, I have 2 choices. I can drop the cube or pass and say I pass and give you 1 point. Or I can take the cube, put it on my side, and let me show you what that looks like. I would put it on my side of the board, doesn't matter here or here, but clearly it's on my side of the board, and I say out loud, I take. So there's no question about it. And now whoever wins the game wins 2 points. And of course a gammon's worth 4 and a backgammon's worth 6. By the way, let's say that I get lucky. I get my checker out of here, or I hit you. Later on, before it's my turn, I can turn that cube to 4. I can offer you the cube at 4, and if you take it, you can pass and lose 2 points, or you've got the cube at 4, and now we're playing for 4 points. So that's pretty much how the cube works. There is one rule about the cube that's very important. Don't touch that cube unless you're going to use it. You're not allowed to try and fake somebody into letting you know what they would do. So that's a very important rule about the cube. Don't touch it unless you're going to actually turn it, and if you touch it, you must turn it. And be very, very clear whether you say you take or you pass, and always be very clear when you say you double. Okay, now we've learned about the cube and matches. What about rolling the dice? The rules are, in most tournaments now we play with 2 dice, 1 for each player, not 4 dice. And the first roll, you roll 1 dice, your opponent rolls 1 dice, and you must roll on the right side of the board. If you're blue here, you roll. By the way, you might be curious about this. Let's find out what Extreme Gammon says about this cube. I can hit the button, and the best software and the best player in the world is going to tell me if I'm sorry, I got white on roll. I got to change this. If blue should double here, and if blue double, should white take or pass? What do you think? This is very interesting. This is one of the reasons I love Extreme Gammon. And again, I have a piece of this. If you buy it, I do get something on it, especially if you say you heard about it from Phil Simborg. But now it's rolling it out. It's playing this game out hundreds and hundreds of times, and sometimes we can even set it to play it out thousands of times and find out what happens statistically. It's strictly crunching the numbers. How often will blue win? How often will blue win a gammon? How often will white turn it around? Is it right to double? Is it right to pass? What do you think? Would you double this if you were blue? Would you take this if you were white? This is what I love about the game, learning from it. By the way, my prediction is I would certainly double, and I'm not sure I would take this cube. Looks like it would be kind of trouble to take, and sure enough, it says the right action is to double and to pass. and it says it's a very, very big pass. These numbers will help you understand. Look at this. White only wins this game about 15% of the time. So it's a very big double. Oh, I made a mistake and had a checker off. It wasn't the original position, but the point is it's still going to be a big double and a big pass. In fact, let's not worry about too good to double. It's very, very great position for blue where he might even win a gammon. Okay, now let's talk about the dice. Again, you each roll on one side. Let's say you roll a 4 and your opponent has an opening roll of a 2. You get to play 4-2. If you roll a 4 and he rolls a 4, you roll over. But you each roll one dice. Now after that, one player picks up both dice and he rolls both on his side of the board. White would roll over here and blue would roll over here. In order to be legal, the dice must land on the right side of the board. And in the United States, we play that dice on top of the checkers as long as they're flat counts. A lot of other countries don't do that, but in the United States, we're more impatient and we don't want to have to roll over, so that's what we do, and that's our rules. So that might get a little bit getting used to. That's not a cocked dice. Now, what's a cocked dice? If a dice is on a corner or laying on the side or not completely flat, that's what we call cocked, and it would go over. Now, if you roll dice that you think are cocked and you should roll over, before you pick up the dice, get your opponent to agree with you that it's cocked. Say, it's cocked, and hopefully they'll say, I agree, or yes, it's cocked. Then you roll over, because you don't want to say it's cocked, pick up your dice and roll again, and have your opponent say, wait a second, I don't think that was cocked. Why are you doing rolling over? So you should agree to it. Now, if you're rolling with a cup, and most games are played where you shake in a cup, you should shake up and down 2 or 3 times vigorously to make sure the dice are really mixed. I happen to prefer a baffle box because those boxes that you can roll into and roll the dice, I think they look good, they're fun, they keep you having fair rolls, and I think the most important thing about a baffle box is I make them and sell them, so I make money. So buy a baffle box. You'll learn more about that when you go to a tournament. Okay, so that's basically about rolling the dice. Your move is over when you hit a clock. If you play with a clock, in most novice divisions you will not be required to use a clock unless the players are playing very slowly. Usually what you do is you tap the center bar very loudly and firmly to show that you've ended your turn. Then the other player picks up the 2 dice and rolls the dice. It's their turn. Be sure you do not reach for or pick up the dice until your opponent has clearly ended his turn by either hitting a clock or tapping. By the way, I prefer a clock, even if you don't use a clock, for time purposes, to use it to show that the move is over. And it's just good practice to use a clock. Eventually you will want to use it so that games don't take so long. And by the way, that brings up another point. If you're not playing with a clock, you should take a reasonable amount of time if you have a difficult decision on checker or cue play, but don't take too long. Be courteous. Don't let it drag on. If you think your opponent is playing extremely slow and it's discourteous or it's distracting or it's boring, don't argue with them. Don't tell them to hurry up. Just call the director, let the director watch and decide what they should do. You should never have an argument with an opponent or about any rule or about anything you're doing. Always call the tournament director. Okay, so now we've talked about moving the dice and the doubling cube. What about moving the checkers? You roll a 6-4 and you move a 6-4 and you pick up the dice, or you hit the center bar and indicate your turn is over. Your turn is over. That's it. Then it's the next player's turn. Now in backgammon, you are allowed to move the checkers, take a look at it, and then move them back. As we know, when people do this, especially if you're beginners, sometimes you forget where they went back to and which checkers you moved. So we strongly recommend that if you move a 6 and a 4 and you're not sure that's going to be your final move and you might change it, don't put it against the other checkers on that point or against the rail. Leave it offset a little bit so there's no question about which checker was moved. That makes it easier when you're moving them back to move the right checkers back. And again, if you have a disagreement with where they should be, call the tournament director. Do not try and argue with your opponent. We want to keep that from happening and just have fun. Now, there is a thing called legal moves that are required in backgammon tournaments now around the world. If I roll a 6-5 and I move 6 and 6, or maybe I move 6 and 4, and then I indicate my turn is over, if you see that I moved illegally, you have a responsibility to point it out and for it to be corrected. Even if it's to your disadvantage to do so, you have to do that. That's your obligation. And by the way, if I roll a 6-5 and I move 6-4, and then I indicate my turn's over, and then I notice I moved illegally, I should immediately say something and correct it. So legal moves are a big part of the game. Double threes. I roll double threes and I only move 3 times, or maybe I move 5 times. You're only allowed to move 4 times. So correct it whether you're the one that made the mistake or not. Okay, here's some other things to know about tournaments. If you win the match, you should report to the whoever's at the draw sheet or the tournament director or whoever you're told to report to. You have the obligation. Scorekeeping can also be a problem. You should have a pencil and paper. The only thing you're allowed to write down is the score, and of course your opponent's name and your name if you'd like. But let's say you score 2 points, and now the score is 4-2. Write it down and say out loud, the score is 4-2. Make sure your opponent agrees with you. If there's sometimes the opponent forgets that the cube was on 2, or forgets that he lost a gammon. People conveniently forget those things, and people make honest mistakes too. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt once. The second or third time, I'm not so sure of giving them benefit of the doubt, but it happens. Okay, so write the scores down. Next thing to know is you are allowed breaks. You can usually get 2 breaks per match, and the breaks are set by the tournament director and the tournament rules. Usually they're up to 5 minutes long. It depends on what's going on with the match. But the important thing is to read and learn what the rules of that tournament are. And if you don't know, ask the tournament director. Another very important thing is know the schedule. I've seen people show up the second day at 10:30. And they were forfeited because their match was supposed to start at 9 o'clock. And they said, well, wait a second. We started at 10:30 yesterday. Well, read the flyer or read the schedule and be on time. The tournament director is not being rude and nasty to you if he penalizes you for being late or even forfeits you for being too late. What he's being is courteous to the other players to keep the matches moving and being fair. So learn what the schedule is and do your best to fit in with the schedule. Now, the good news is when you go to a tournament, at just about any tournament, and even at most of the local clubs, there's always some very good players there. Find out who they are and go watch them. And most of them, if you have questions after the match, why did you double there? Why did you make that move? They're happy to tell you. They love to share their information. As a matter of fact, I'm a partner in the Backgammon Learning Center. Perry Gartner and I started the Backgammon Learning Center, www.backgammonlearningcenter.com. And we have about 25 teachers around the world in 14 languages, happy to teach. I'm not trying to make a plug for teaching. I'm just letting you know that there are teachers out there and that it's very rare that you will go to any kind of a major tournament where one of my teachers won't be there. So let me know ahead of time. I'm going to give you my email address. Let me know what tournament you're going to be at, and I'll talk to one of my guys or one of my friends. And if I don't have one of them there, I'll talk to somebody else to take you under their wing a little bit and show you around and help you feel more at home. So this is, again, another site that you might look at if you're interested in lessons. But even if you're not interested in lessons, because lessons are more expensive than articles and reading books and working with Extreme Gammon on your own, I will tell you this. The more you learn about the game, the more fun it is, the more you will win, the more enjoyable it is, that it's a deeper, richer experience the more you know what's going on. I strongly encourage you to go to tournaments, and as I promised you, my name is Phil Simborg, and my email address is my name, phil@simb.org, Phil Simborg. I encourage you to email me if you have questions about backgammon, where to play, what books to read, where to read articles, problems with Extreme Gammon, or we have XG Mobile, which also works on your smartphone. It isn't as good as the full program, but it's very, very good and still very, very helpful. We're here to help you. But again, I would encourage you to join the U.S. Backgammon Federation. I encourage you to get involved with your local clubs. And if you don't have a local club, we will help you. I've got a guide that will tell you and give you hints on how to start your own club, and we'll help you. We'll get you information. I'll do some even teaching videos free with your new players. We'll show you how to get boards at a discount. We'll help you get backgammon boards at a discount. We'll show you how to market it. So if you don't have a local club, start one. It's fun. I've done that myself, and it's a lot of fun, and you make a lot of new friends. Teach your kids to play backgammon. There is nothing better, and I mean chess, bridge, you name it. There's not a game in the world that teaches math, odds, probability, statistics, dealing with good and bad luck. And this is a game they'll play the rest of their lives, and the game that eventually they'll get good enough to play against you. You can play it as a family. You can play doubles with your kids. That's something else I forgot to mention. When you go to a tournament, there's not going to be just that novice division. There's plenty of opportunities to play at other games. One is doubles. You can team up with a better player and get a learning experience from that, or just team up with a friend and play doubles. And also there's other kinds of short matches and short games you can play, and variations of backgammon, which are really fun and easy, where you can keep competing. You'll have a full weekend of fun at any major backgammon tournament and then some. I think that covers it all pretty good. Again, if you have any questions, you've got my email address, phil@sim.org. Join the USBGF. Start there. All the information you need on everything will be there, and all the links you need will be there. I hope to see you at a tournament soon. Stay in touch, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.